testing out motion tracking and stabilization. I've got the motion tracker on, that way, hopefully, while I'm walking here, it not only keeps me in a stable sense, even though my arm is moving around considerably, at least it should be keeping the camera movement fairly smooth compared to what it would be if it wasn't on a stabilizer. And then on top of it, with the AI tracker, it should be keeping me within frame a lot better because I have it set up a little bit higher on keeping my torso, well, at least shoulders and head within camera. This way we can see as I move my arm around or change positions with the camera itself, that it will continue to try to keep me in frame even with all the different movement. And then with me switching hands back and forth, I think it actually does pretty good from what I've been seeing in the testing. I did a little bit yesterday when it first got here. I just want to be able to thoroughly test this in a brighter environment in the yard, especially because there's so many dips and divots and little mounds and things. So it should give a good enough experience of walking like along a hiking trail or something in the woods, for the aspect of being on an uneven terrain where you're constantly bouncing or shifting besides your typical movement while you're walking. You could do this as a podcast. You could record an episode while you're out walking on a decent mic in your phone and not have to worry about having bad audio quality. Or maybe you do a podcast already, but maybe you want to do a video podcast, in which case this could be perfect to give you that higher quality along to go with your audio. Myself, I think this is doing fairly well. The nice thing is you've got the gimbal itself, and then you've got the extension arm, which doubles as a tripod. So it makes it very easy to swap back and forth between hands. It's got all kinds of buttons and knobs for different features. Focus, zoom in, zoom out. Now, that is one thing that I will mention, is that not all of these features work on the various different video and photo apps. Some of these features only work on the Hohem Joy app, and I have not played with the app itself yet. I have read reviews on the app, and I don't know if I'm going to like it based on reading those reviews. I am at least going to check it out and give you my honest opinion at the end of this video. But my primary concept for this was, I don't care what features are in their app. I really don't. My idea was the AI tracker and the stability that it can give for content creators, whether you're low vision or not, and the ease of use. Now, it would be nice if every feature worked on every app, whether it was the built-in video, phone, camera app, or if it's the camera app on Facebook or any other social media or any other app available on the Apple Store or the Google Store. But that's not the case. So there are some features that are only for their app, but that's okay. They don't necessarily need to work for you on the gimbal to be able to still get that good quality video. It's just something you preset within your camera while you're preparing, and you call it good. You don't have no adjustment on the fly. That's okay. So hopefully this portion of the video turned out good, and we will find out here momentarily. Another thing is though the motion tracker does have a green and red light to indicate its operation, as well as a fill light, the size of that little light is very small. So depending on the lighting situation in your vision, depends on whether or not you'll be able to see the little green or red dot to let you know what it's doing. The white fill light that it uses to signal that it's on and everything, that you should be able to see because it's fairly bright. But the little green and red one is very, very tiny above the sensor, so it may be hard to see that depending on the lighting situation. If you're outdoors, like it's bright like now, it is hard, but being in the shade, it is a little bit easier to see a slight hue. But it would be better if that light were just maybe a tad bit bigger to make it a little bit easier, or maybe give it another audible beep, just like when turning on the gimbal, so that you know that that sensor is on as well and functioning, or something. Overall, I still like it. And the nice part is I can take you like this right now, and I can put out the arms for the tripod. We'll sit you right here on the desk. See? Hands free. And you're still following. And this is why I think the Hohem is a perfect gimbal for those of us who are content creators, whether you want to do videos, whether you want to do podcasting, photography, interviews, anything like that. I think this is good because I'm not touching the camera. The AI sensor is automatically following me, so I could sit here and walk back and forth and just talk to you in a normal tone of voice, and I will stay in frame just as I want to, rather than struggling to see, am I in frame, am I in range? This makes things a heck of a lot easier. And this is only after 24 hours of having it, and I am thoroughly impressed. Alright, now we're doing a quick test of the AI tracker. I want to see how far we can go from it before it actually loses sight. It looks like you might have stayed on me that whole time. That'll be interesting to see in playback. Alright, so I've been testing the Hohem iSteady M6 kit for the past few days. Overall, I think it's a great little gimbal. There's plenty of features. The phone holder could be a little bit better, but it works. When it comes to the aspect of versatility with external microphones and things like that, it's going to be a little bit more on the complicated side. There is a 7-inch maximum phone size, which the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the Samsung S22 Ultra are 6.8 and 6.9 inches without cases. With the cases on, you might as well say 6.9 and 7.0. So Samsung is at the maximum size and the iPhone is nearly there. So I did attempt to see how much room there was to give for that to allow for the phone to be offset just a bit with a external mic attached. Unfortunately, due to this fact, the phones are too far off balance and overwork the gimbal, which means that you either need a Bluetooth microphone set or you use the built-in microphone on the phones themselves. When it comes to the aspect of the AI tracker and usability in that sense, it is fairly easy to get the motion tracker to follow you, and it does keep hold of you within sight for a fair amount of distance. During my testing, as you've seen, I walked about 15 to 20 foot away from the AI tracker, and it continued to follow me in that circle. Now, one downside is not all of the features do work on every camera app. There is a few of them that are app specific, such as the focus knob and the zoom control for zooming in and zooming out. Those are reserved specifically for in the Hohem app. The AI tracker is capable of being used across any of the phone apps that you want to use with a camera or video. As it is its own little device, it has its own power source that is directly through the Hohem itself. There are 3 different hand gestures that you can use to be able to get the motion tracker to recognize you. One being the OK sign. This turns on the sensor to follow you. Now, to turn the sensor on itself, it does have a button on the side. But to turn on the sensor for tracking, you use the OK pinch sign. This allows the tracker to follow you. You can use a standard palm with your face in view, and it will turn off the tracking system. You can also do the gesture of making like a picture frame, and it will turn on the ability to reposition yourself within frame, and then you use the gesture again to lock yourself in that orientation. Overall, I like this little gimbal. I'm doing the last of the tests right now while I'm doing this recording. So you'll be able to get a good sense of what I think about the Hohem Joy app itself, as well and its usability with the gimbal. I think that it has overall performed very well. I think that the Hohem Joy app per se, and the way that the app controls the gimbal could use some improvement, but for the most part, I think it does fairly well. Now, for creating the shorter clips that it does good. I think that the little demonstration tutorials that are within the app to show you how to do things could definitely be better. I think that the little description underneath of the settings for going into each of the different little preset modes could also use improvement. They are very faint letters on a white background. When it comes to the aspect of stabilization, ease of use, and features, I think that it is amazing. I've got a different brand of gimbal, and there's no comparison. I even actually tried to use my other one to show you a comparison, but unfortunately that one is not going to fit either one of my phones. Hope you found today's video helpful. If you have any questions, by all means, please feel free to drop them down below.